Yes, ma'am.
Yes, switch on your video. All right, so do you people have any doubts in the previous topic that we had discussed about the plasma membrane? Any doubts about active and passive transportation and everything? Anything that you people did not understand?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Are you people studying the chapters that are being completed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. What about Zanab? The big smile? Is that a yes, I am studying? Is that an oh no, I'm not studying? What is it?
The plant kingdom, I had exams, so I studied. The new chapter,
Tell no. Okay. All right. See, so today we're going to talk about the cell wall. Now, cell wall, it is present in the case of plants, it is present in bacteria, and it is present in fungi. In animals, it is absent. Now, on the outside of plasma membrane, there is another layer which gives, or you can say provides, rigidity to the cell. And that is what we call as cell wall. Now, if you talk about plants, bacteria, like, do you see that they belong to different kingdoms, right? Meaning they are whole different kinds of organisms. So talking about them, they like the composition of their cell wall that also varies a lot in each of them. For example, if we start with the plant cell wall, we start with the plant cell wall. Now, do you people remember what is the plant cell wall made up of?
Cellulose.
Very. It is made up of cellulose. So we can say that the plants, they have a cellulose. Yes.
your voice is low, ma'am.
Is it still?
Now it's fine.
Okay, so talking about the plant cell wall, so we can say that since it is made up of cellulose, we can term it as a cellulosic cell wall. Now, do you people know what cellulose is? Do you have any idea? See, this cellulose, now you people have not studied biomolecules yet, right? None of you have? So this cellulose is a polysaccharide. We will talk about what polysaccharides are when we'll talk about the chapter biomolecule. But for now, just remember that the cellulose is a polysaccharide which makes up the plant cell wall. Now, apart from that, remember that the plant cell wall is the most complex structure in the case of plants. It is a proper defined structure of the plant cell. And apart from being the most, you can say, important component of the cell wall, apart from this, there are many other components that are present in the cell wall, such as hemicellulose, pectin, and certain amounts of proteins are also present in the cell wall. Okay, don't write anything down right now, students. First you understand, then I'll give you time to write. Now, so we can say that from apart from cellulose, yes, Anna?
And polysaccharides are a part of glucose, right? They are the constituents of glucose.
No, actually, the glucose that you're talking about, glucose is a very simple sugar. Okay, glucose and like it is monosaccharide, disaccharide. Glucose is a monosaccharide. Mono means that it is not made up of a lot of components, that if you try to break up glucose, you will not find any other components other than carbon, hydrogen and stuff in it. But polysaccharides is when one, it is a complex sugar. Okay, it is a complex sugar and it is made up of more than two sugars. So when multiple sugars they combine, then the polysaccharide is formed. In the case of cellulose, there are almost thousands of sugars that come together and form the polysaccharide. Clear? So it is a polysaccharide and it is a complex sugar. It is very complex. Now talking about the plant cell. So apart from the cellulose, the plant cell wall also has the hemicellulose. Apart from cellulose, the plant cell wall also contains, now these are the certain, you can say, extra components that we are writing about. The first one is hemicellulose. Then we have pectin. And then certain proteins are also there. So all of these components, they make up the plant cell wall. Any doubts? All right.
No, ma'am.
Very good. Now we'll talk about the next is that the fungal cell wall. Fungal cell wall. Do you people know what it is made up of? The fungal cell wall is composed of?
Chitin.
Very good. It is composed of chitin. Now this chitin is also a polymer. Okay, again, when you'll talk about biomolecules, you'll understand better about chitin. But if we say, so the fungal cell wall is known as chitinous cell wall. Just like how cellulosic cell wall is for plants, same way chitinous cell wall is for the fungal cells. Now the next that we'll discuss is the algal cell wall. Do you people remember algae? Right? So in that, what was the cell wall made up of?
Cellulose.
Correct. Cellulose. Apart from cellulose, was there any other things? See, the algal cell wall, apart from having the cellulose is the basic component. Apart from having the cellulose, it also has galactans. Okay, it has galactans. And apart from galactans, it has mannans. So these are certain extra compounds that are present in the algae. Okay, these, and apart from them, certain minerals are also present in the cell wall of algae. So algal cell wall is made up of cellulose, galactans, and mannans. Any doubts up until now? Now see, in the plants, initially the first formed cell wall is known as the primary cell wall, and the cell wall which is formed later on is known as the secondary cell wall. Can you people check in your book, is this primary secondary cell wall given in your syllabus? Just check it once in your NCRT.
It's there, ma'am.
There? Okay. Now see, the plant cell wall, if we talk about the cell wall of plants, okay, so the plant cell wall, it has two regions. The plant cell wall has two regions, and those regions are actually, the first one is the primary cell wall, or you can say the primary wall, and then the next one is the secondary wall. Now, when you talk about the primary wall, see, primary means first, right? So the wall that is initially formed in the plant cell, that wall is known as the primary cell wall. And all the young plant cell, they have this primary wall present. And this is very thin. This wall is like, you can say, expandable, meaning it can stretch a lot. So it has that expandable, like you can say, property in it. And this is the first formed wall layer in the plant cell. Now, after that, what happens is that when more and more cellulose starts getting deposited in the primary wall, that primary wall, you can say, gets modified into a secondary wall. It has, you can say, more depositions, and it is added. For example, if this is the primary wall, and then stuff starts getting deposited here. Okay, so now what will happen, that inner to the primary wall, or you can say towards the internal part of the primary wall, another wall layer will be formed, and that is what we call as the secondary wall. So this one is the secondary wall and this one is the primary wall. Clear? Any doubts? Is there a doubt? See, when a plant cell is developing, okay, so when a cell is developing, it has to have every single component of the cell. If we are talking about the plant cell, so the plant cell has an additional layer, that is the cell wall. But the cell wall does not get formed immediately. It has certain stages that it has to go through. So the first stage of the formation of cell wall is the primary wall. Now this primary wall, it is a single layer of wall material, and it is thin, it is elastic, meaning the first formed layer of wall is known as primary wall. Now after that, certain stuff starts getting deposited towards the inner portion of the primary wall, and this layer, it forms a layer, and that layer becomes the secondary wall. Okay, it is not as expandable if you compare it with the primary wall. And usually when does this secondary wall is formed? Mainly when the plant cell has matured. In the young cell, primary wall is there. In the older cells, there will be the secondary wall present. Any doubts? Now see, in between these two walls, meaning in between the primary and the secondary wall, there is a cementing material, a cement-like material which sticks them together, and that is what we call as middle lamella. So right in between these two walls, like there is a cementing material present, and that is what we call as middle lamella. Clear? Now, if we were to write about the primary wall, let us write something about the primary wall. So the primary wall, it is the first formed cell wall of plants. It is the first formed cell wall of plants. And what is the property of primary wall? Like, how will you know that it is a primary wall? So it is thin and expandable. It can expand. Clear? Any doubts up until now? So we'll write that most of the young cells or young plant cells, we must specify. So most of the young plant cells possess a proper primary wall. Any doubts? Primary wall is clear to everyone? All right. Now, after that, what will happen? Slowly, when stuff starts getting deposited, then the secondary wall will be formed. So we'll write now about the secondary wall. Which chapters are going on currently in your school, student? Have you people had your summer vacations yet?
No, ma'am.
No. Still no summer vacation for you?
Vacation started.
Oh, yours started. From when?
Thursday, 7th onwards.
7th. Okay. And when is yours starting, Jesslyn?
Ma'am, July 5th.
July 5th. Oh God,
Yeah.
you're not getting any holiday in June. That's so
No,
sad.
ma'am.
And like, how is the weather in the place that you live?
Very hot.
Very hot.
Yeah, I
God.
think get like heat stroke every day.
Okay. Now, it must have been very difficult to go to the school, right? And your school
Yes,
is
ma'am.
like open, offline.
It's offline. Yeah.
Okay, that's sad. I'm happy that I don't have to wait for my summer vacations. Many students here in India also have gotten their summer vacations. I think so. Yeah, in 1 or 2 days they'll get. Okay. So you people must have, like, whoever has gotten the summer vacation, you people have must have gotten a lot of holiday homework also. Okay. So, like, yeah, which chapter is going on in your schools currently?
Ma'am, we're doing revision because like exams are going on now, but here and there we are starting biomolecules.
Biomolecules. Okay. And yours, Anna? You have to
Not
check.
finished anatomy of flowering plants.
Anatomy of flowering plants. How do you like the chapter?
It is boring, but you have to study.
Okay. So now talking about the secondary wall. So in the mature cell, as the plant cell starts maturing slowly, so more layers of wall material are added towards the inner side. Now, why does this happen? So that the plant cell can have the rigidity present in it. Now we'll say that it starts to, or it starts to thicken the layer. As more and more plant material or wall material or the cellulose gets added, the wall starts getting thicker and thicker. Now, apart from that, remember that, have you seen this thing? The woody parts of the tree. Have you seen it? Is it like it's so hard, right? You can't even like bend it at all. And even if you pick it up, for example, you take a smaller twig or a plant, and then you take the stem of that, and if you compare it with a wood chip, the wood bark, now if you try to bend it, so now the plant seed, that the little plant, the smaller one, you this like the stem will easily bend. It won't what do you call it, it won't break off, but it will be very like, you'll try to break it but it won't break, it will go like limp but it will not break. Why? Because it is a young mature plant part, and in that only the primary wall is present. That is why we're not able to break it like how we break the chips. Tuck tuck, we can't do that. But if you take a wood chip and you try to break it, you can easily do so, isn't it? If it is like doable. So that has proper secondary wall formed in it. But the younger plant part, the younger plant cell, it does not have a secondary wall form. Now, another property of this secondary wall is there in the woody parts of the plant, the wall gets lignified. Now, what is the meaning of lignified? See, lignified means lignin is a material, and this lignin is a very hard material. The wall, like the woody parts of the plants that are there, they are hard and harsh because of the lignin present in them. Clear? Any doubts? Okay. Now talking about the next, that is middle lamella. Now always remember middle lamella as the cementing material, or you can remember it as the glue. It is the glue, or it is the part that actually keeps the primary wall and the secondary wall stuck to each other. So it is the cementing material. And remember that middle lamella, it is made up of calcium and magnesium pectate. So we'll say that it is the cementing material. It is a cementing material used to keep the wall layers together. The wall layers together. And it is made up of, it is, this line is very important, that it is made up of magnesium and calcium pectate. Any doubts up until now? All right, okay. Now you people can note down till here, then we'll talk about the functions of the cell wall. You can switch off your cameras.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Yes, Zainab?
Ma'am, can you read the middle lamella's definition?
It is the cementing material used to keep the wall layers together. It is made up of magnesium and calcium pectate.
Done, ma'am.
All right, everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now see, there is another thing that you people have to learn about, that is plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata. Now what is this? Now see, plasmodesmata, it is a cytoplasmic strand. These are the strand-like structures. Now what these plasmodesmata do is that they help the adjacent cells, meaning the cells that are lying side by side, these plasmodesmata, it forms a connection in between them so that materials could be exchanged, so that there is a connectivity in between two adjacent cells. So these are cytoplasmic strands. Cytoplasm, you understand what is cytoplasm? What do you mean by cytoplasm?
It's the fluid in the cell that contains all the organelles.
Very good. Exactly. It is the fluid like jelly like substance, fluid like substance which is present in the cell, and all the organelles are present in it. Apart from that, the cytoplasm is the place where all the cellular activity takes place. Most of the cellular activity, it takes place in the cytoplasm. Now, the plasmodesmata, these are the strands of the cytoplasm that helps in the connectivity between two adjacent cells, meaning it is responsible for connecting two cells together. Now, why this connection is needed? So that they can be in contact and there can be exchange of materials in between the two cells. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, finally, this is all there is to know about the cell wall. Now, let's move on to the final functions of the cell wall, which is one of the most important topic, as to, like many a times it can be asked in the question, such as what are the various functions of the cell wall. So the first one is it maintains the shape of the cell. It maintains the shape of the cell, meaning if the cell is cube like, if the cell is you can say square in shape, or ovoid or oval, we're talking about plant cells. So these the shapes of the cell, they are present because of the cytoplasm. So it maintains the shape of the cell. Apart from that, the cell wall is responsible for protecting the cells. So it protects the cells from mechanical injury, from any kind of injury. For example, if you take a plant cell and you throw it on the ground, right? So the cell won't rupture, it won't burst. Why? Because it has cell wall present, which actually protects this particular cell. And then apart from that, it wards off the cell wall, since it is a protective layer. So it wards off the attack of pathogens, the attack of pathogens like the bacteria, then virus. Okay, so all these pathogens, they, and also fungi. So the plant protects itself from the attack of all these pathogens with the help of the cell wall itself. Now, it allows the transportation of material, or so you can say that it allows the materials, to pass in and out of the cell, to pass in and out of the cell. Okay, so because of the plasmodesmata, because the two cells are connected together, so it allows the materials to pass in and out of the cell. And lastly, it helps in cell to cell interaction. Cell to cell interaction. This is what is the function. Like all of these are the various functions of the cell wall. Any doubts in any of the points? Hmm? Also, yeah, one question: who gave the fluid mosaic model? Does anyone remember the name? The fluid
Pink
mosaic.
and Nicholson.
Singer and Nicholson. Very good. Exactly. Now, moving on to the next, that is the endomembrane system. Now, this is in itself a whole universe. Okay, so we'll talk about endomembrane system. Now, see, endomembrane, do you like, if you can break the word, what do you make out of endomembrane?
The inner
Inside.
Hmm? One of you, Zainab, go. What were you saying?
the inner membrane.
The inner membrane. What is yours? What is your answer, Jesslyn?
Activity that goes on inside the plasma like in
Yes,
the
exactly.
inside.
Very good. Exactly. Very appropriate. Endo means inside, and membrane here is referring to the plasma membrane. So, endomembrane system is the proper, you can say, the interaction between certain organelles and the functions that actually happen inside the plasma membrane of the cell. Now, we know that in the eukaryotic cell, in the cytoplasm, there is the presence of all the various kinds of cell organelles, right? There are multiple cell organelles. Some of those cell organelles are membrane bound and the others are not membrane bound. Now, what happens is that each of those cell organelles, they have their own functions to perform. 100% it has to be. So they have their own functions to perform, but when they perform the functions in a coordinated manner, meaning when they come together and perform the function in one single flow, then that is what we call as endomembrane system. And what are the components of the endomembrane system? This is very important. Which is and which is not. So the components, first we'll like start with the components of the endomembrane system. The components of the endomembrane system. It is so hot that I am sitting right below the fan and I'm still sweating like crazy. It is so hot. I hate summers. I hate them with all my being. It's like so bad. I hate summers. I can actually bear 0 degrees Celsius if I had to, but I will not survive in summer. I hate summers. Okay, so the components of endomembrane system. See, as I told you, the endomembrane system here, the components, they have to be coordinated. They're like their functions have to be coordinated in a very well, like you can say fashion or a very well proper manner. So the components of this endomembrane system are, the first one is endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum. After endoplasmic reticulum, we have Golgi complex or Golgi complex. Then after Golgi complex, we have the lysosomes. And lastly, we have the vacuoles. Now, if you see here, mitochondria is not mentioned. If you see here, chloroplasts, ribosomes, these are not mentioned, meaning they are not a part of endomembrane system. The parts of the endomembrane system are these ones that I've mentioned: endoplasmic reticulum, we have Golgi complex, lysosomes, and vacuoles. These four of them together, they form the endomembrane system. Clear? Okay, now you people can note down. Yes, Anna.
Ma'am, microtubule is not a part of endomembrane system.
Microtubules?
Yeah.
No. They're responsible for they are the part of cytoskeleton, not endomembrane system.
Yes. Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Done, ma'am.
So if you're done?
Yes, ma'am.
understand, ma'am.